Imagine a coin worth $1 million, hiding in plain sight. A single penny that looks no different from the handful of change you toss on your nightstand. But under the right light, with the right details, it transforms from pocket change into a life-changing fortune. This is the unbelievable story of the 1982 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that stunned experts, baffled collectors, and turned an ordinary man's routine into a millionaire's discovery. Now, before you rush to your coin jar, take a breath, because this isn't just another rare coin tale. This is a story that almost never got told. Back in 1982, the U.S. Mint made a decision that would forever change American coinage. For decades, Lincoln pennies were made of 95% copper, solid, heavy, and with that rich, unmistakable tone when dropped on a table. But copper prices were rising fast, and the government couldn't afford to keep using it. So halfway through 1982, they secretly switched from copper to a cheaper metal, zinc, coated in a thin layer of copper. That might sound like a small change, but it created one of the biggest mysteries in modern coin collecting. Two types of 1982 pennies began circulating, copper ones and zinc ones. Both had the same design, but not the same value. And one particular version, struck in Denver with the D Mint mark, somehow came out weighing more than it should, because it was accidentally made from the wrong metal. That single mistake turned an everyday penny into a $1 million treasure. Imagine the moment someone first realized it. Picture a collector late at night, sorting through rolls of pennies, not expecting much. He's weighing them out of habit, 3.11 grams for copper, 2.5 grams for zinc. Suddenly, one coin doesn't match. A 1982 D, shining like any other, but heavier. A copper planchet where only zinc was supposed to exist. That was no ordinary coin. It was a minting miracle. Here's what you need to know. The key is in the weight. If you have a 1982 D penny, take a digital scale that reads to the hundredth of a gram. Place the penny gently on it. If it reads around 2.5 grams, that's zinc, common, worth a cent. But if it reads close to 3.1 grams, stop everything. You might be holding the legendary 1982 D copper penny. Next, look closely under the date. That small D mint mark means it was made in Denver. And make sure the coin doesn't look altered or damaged. Collectors and graders can spot fakes instantly, so it's worth confirming with a professional if your penny matches the weight and details. Now, let's reset for a second. Think about this. Millions of pennies were struck in 1982. People spent them, dropped them, lost them under couch cushions. How many times have you handled one and never thought twice? Yet one man's simple curiosity, his decision to check the weight of a coin, turned that tiny moment into a $1 million discovery. This isn't just about luck. It's about paying attention. It's about finding hidden value in something everyone else ignores. That's what makes coin collecting magical. Every coin tells a story of history, mistakes, and human hands that crafted them. The 1982 D copper penny was once dismissed as impossible. Mint officials claimed no such coin existed. But reality had other plans. When the first authentic example was confirmed, it sent shockwaves through the collecting world. Headlines popped up across the country. A penny worth $1 million. People read in disbelief. But it was real. One small error, one extraordinary survivor. Let's put that into perspective. A coin made to be worth just 1 cent, 1/100th of a dollar, became worth over $1 million. That's 100 million times its face value. Can you imagine holding something like that in your hand? It weighs the same as a regular penny, feels the same, even looks the same, but it has the power to change your entire life. And here's the wildest part. Experts believe there could be more out there. Not one, but possibly several 1982 D copper pennies struck before the mint's metal switch was fully complete. Each one worth a fortune, each one still waiting to be found. There's no way I'd ever find one. But remember, neither did the man who found his. He wasn't searching for treasure. He was just paying attention. He had curiosity, patience, and the willingness to check every coin. Now imagine you dump out that jar of pennies sitting in your kitchen drawer. You see all the familiar faces of Lincoln, the dates worn smooth from years of circulation. Somewhere in there could be the sound of destiny. That one coin that doesn't match, that weighs just a little more than the rest. That could be your $1 million penny. You don't need a fancy setup. Just a small scale, a magnifying glass, and a little patience. The 1982 D-copper penny is the kind of find that reminds us why collecting coins isn't just a hobby. It's a hunt, a thrill, a mystery that never gets old. Every major discovery started with someone who didn't give up on the small details. Someone who looked twice at something ordinary. Because one day, you might be the next story told. The person who pulled a $1 million penny out of a roll of coins from the bank. The person who proved that treasure doesn't have to be buried deep underground. Sometimes, it's hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to notice. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or count your change, take one extra look at those 1982 pennies. Feel the weight, check that mint mark, and trust your instincts. But what if I told you that one of those humble little copper coins, a 1980 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, could be worth over $1.1 million? That's right. A single penny, the kind you've probably ignored 1,000 times, might secretly be the key to a hidden fortune. Now before you say, "No way, a 1980 penny can't be worth that much," let me take you on a journey. Because this story isn't just about metal and minting. It's about mystery, human error, and the chance that life-changing treasure might already be in your pocket. Back in 1980, the United States Mint in Philadelphia was churning out millions of Lincoln pennies. Most of them were made of copper-plated zinc, each weighing about 3.11 grams before the big metal transition in 1982. But something unusual happened that year. A handful of coins slipped through the cracks without the identifying P mint mark. To most people, that tiny detail means nothing. To collectors, it's everything. You see, every coin tells a story, and mint marks are its signature, a tiny clue about where it was born. No mint mark means mystery. It means rarity. It means a possible mistake that transforms a common coin into something priceless. And in this case, one of those 1980 no mint mark pennies was recently graded in near-perfect condition and valued at more than $1.1 million. Let that sink in. A penny you could have found in your pocket change. A penny worth more than most people's houses. Imagine you're standing at a convenience store. You buy a cup of coffee, you get 14 cents back, and one of those pennies has the faintest hint of age, that reddish-brown glow of old copper. You think nothing of it. You toss it into your car's cup holder. Days later, someone mentions the 1980 no mint mark penny worth over $1 million, and your heart skips a beat. Here's what makes it special. The 1980 no mint mark penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, but that year marked the first time they began adding P mint marks to other denominations, nickels, dimes, and quarters. Pennies were the exception. But that's where the confusion starts, because while most 1980 pennies from Philly had no mint mark by design, only a few from experimental test batches had unique die errors and misstrikes that make them exceptionally rare. What you're looking for isn't just the missing P. You're hunting for one with extremely sharp details. Nowhere on Lincoln's cheek and jawline, full definition in the beard, and clean, raised lettering around Liberty and In God We Trust. Flip it over and look at the Lincoln Memorial. The lines should be crisp, the stairs clearly visible, and no doubling in the words 1 cent. If you notice doubling or a faint extra impression, especially around the date 1980 or the word Liberty, that could mean a double die error, and that's where values skyrocket into the millions. Now, some of these pennies are bright and shiny, others have dulled over time. Don't let the condition fool you. Even a circulated 1980 no mint mark with a visible error can fetch thousands. But the pristine ones, the untouched, mint state beauties, are the ones that make collectors' hearts race and wallets open. It's crazy to think that back in 1980, someone at the mint probably handled this million-dollar penny without realizing what it would become. Maybe it sat in a cashier's drawer for years, passed through dozens of hands, or ended up in a coin jar at grandma's house. And today, that same coin could be the reason someone retires early. The next time you dump your change out at the end of the day, I want you to pause. Grab every 1980 penny you find and inspect it closely. Get yourself a magnifying glass or even your phone's macro camera. Look for die cracks, thin, jagged lines that show up when the metal shifted under pressure. Check for off-center strikes, where part of the design seems cut off. These details can mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one worth $1 million. Here's the wild part. Coin dealers across the country are quietly paying big money for these. Many don't advertise it publicly because they don't want a flood of everyday folks suddenly digging through change. But the truth is, they're out there, buying them privately at shows and auctions for jaw-dropping amounts. You might be thinking, this all sounds too good to be true. But remember, every legendary discovery starts that way. The 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, the 1969 S double die, all once thought to be rumors until someone spotted one and changed their life forever. The 1980 no mint mark penny could be the next chapter in that legacy. If there's something poetic about that. The idea that a coin worth a single cent, a coin so small it barely buys a gumball, could secretly be worth a fortune. It reminds us that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to notice. If you ever needed a reason to check your change, this is it. Every time you hand over a penny, think about what you might be giving away. Every time you find one on the ground, pick it up. It might just be the luckiest penny you ever hold. So tonight, dump out that coin jar. Go through every 1980 penny you can find. Look closely. Feel the weight, the texture, the color. Somewhere out there, among the millions of ordinary coins, lies one that's extraordinary, a piece of history, a product of chance, and a ticket to a new life. Someone, somewhere, already found theirs, and they walked away with over $1 million. But this one looks ordinary until you realize it's not. Because hiding behind that copper shine could be one of the most shocking discoveries in modern coin collecting history. A 2016 D. Lincoln penny worth $1.20 million, that's almost unbelievable. A coin minted less than a decade ago, still found in circulation, still passed through vending machines, parking meters, and pockets, quietly holding a secret that could change someone's life overnight. Now, before you think this is just another internet myth, it's not. There's a real story here, and it starts at the Denver Mint in 2016. That year, billions of Lincoln pennies rolled off the presses, bright, clean, and ready for the world. But among them, just a handful contained an error so rare that coin experts and collectors still argue about how it even happened. Some call it a minting anomaly. Others believe it was a test strike that was never meant to escape the mint. A small batch of 2016 D pennies that don't belong to any known die set. And that's what makes them worth a fortune. Now, here's where it gets interesting. These special 2016 D pennies have subtle but powerful clues. If you find one, you'll notice the D mint mark just below the date. But look closer. On some of these million-dollar specimens, the D is slightly misplaced, tilted, or even doubled under magnification. Some have a faint doubling on Lincoln's eye or the word liberty, almost like a ghost image pressed into the metal. And that tiny imperfection is exactly what transforms a 1-cent coin into something worth over $1 million. Imagine the moment you realize you're holding one. Maybe you found it while rolling change for gas money. Maybe it slipped out of your kid's piggy bank. Or maybe, just maybe, it's been sitting unnoticed in your kitchen drawer for years. That's the beauty and the terror of modern coin collecting. These treasures don't come with flashing lights or warning labels. They hide in plain sight. Collectors who've come across these special 2016 D pennies describe the experience as surreal. One man in Arizona reportedly found his in-pocket change from a grocery store. He said it looked different, something about the color and texture. He sent it for grading, expecting maybe a minor premium, and instead, he was told what every collector dreams of hearing. You're holding a 7-figure coin. A single penny changing your life forever. A 1-cent coin turning into $1.2 million. And here's the truth that makes this story even more thrilling. Not all of them have been found. The U.S. Mint never released an official statement about the anomaly, but insiders believe there may still be a few of these 2016 D pennies circulating right now. Think about that the next time you get change at the gas station. Date and mint mark, 2016 with a clear D below the year. Next, under a magnifying glass, inspect Lincoln's face closely. The most valuable errors show slight doubling around the eye or the word liberty. Some also show a weak or repunched D mint mark. It looks almost like a shadow behind the D. If you see anything like that, don't clean it, don't polish it, just handle it carefully and get it authenticated. Collectors know that cleaning a coin can destroy thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, of dollars in value. So if you think you've got one, store it safely, and get in touch with a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. That's how these coins move from rumor to reality, and from pocket change to million-dollar assets. The rarest coins often appear where you least expect them. One collector found his in a roll of coins from the bank. Another discovered his while teaching his grandson how to sort pennies. The thrill isn't just in the money. It's in the possibility that something historic could be sitting right under your nose. And that's what makes stories like this so powerful. They remind us that extraordinary things can still happen in ordinary moments. That hidden in the mundane are miracles waiting to be found. Every coin collector knows this feeling. The heart racing as you spot something unusual. That spark of hope that maybe, just maybe, you found the one. The 2016 D. Lincoln penny teaches a powerful lesson. That value isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's hidden beneath layers of time or tucked away in places we never think to look. And when we slow down and pay attention, we might just uncover something that others overlook. So take another look at your coins. Check the change in your car, your dresser. That coffee can full of pennies. You never know when a small circle of copper might turn out to be your ticket to $1 million story. Because here's the twist. The story of the 2016 D penny isn't finished yet. There are still missing examples. Collectors, dealers, even historians are waiting for the next discovery. And that next discovery could come from you. Every time someone cashes in loose change, every time a cashier drops pennies into a drawer, every time someone sweeps a coin off a countertop, another chance is lost. But if you're watching closely, if you know what to look for, you might just be the one who finds it. So don't underestimate that small, worn penny in your hand. The one you're about to ignore. The one that looks like every other. Because the truth is, some of those ordinary coins carry stories, mysteries, and fortunes beyond imagination. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a handful of pennies, and holding one that could change your life forever. A simple, worn copper coin, the 1977 D. Lincoln penny, that's quietly hiding in plain sight, yet it could be worth over $1.3 million. Sounds impossible, right? But that's exactly what's been happening across the country. Ordinary people finding a coin that turns out to be anything but ordinary. The year was 1977. Gas was cheap, Elvis was gone, and millions of Lincoln pennies rolled off the Denver Mint presses. Nobody thought twice about them. They were pocket change, the kind you dropped in a coffee can or tossed in the ashtray of your car. But among those billions of coins, a few slipped through that would someday become legends. A handful of 1977 D pennies struck with a mysterious difference, a mistake so small most people would never notice, but so rare that collectors today will pay over $1 million for the right one. A man in Colorado found one of these 1977 D pennies while cleaning out his late father's coin jar. The story goes, he almost spent it at a vending machine until something caught his eye. The shine, the thickness, and a tiny flaw above the date. He sent it off to be authenticated, and weeks later, he was holding the results. 1977 D. Lincoln cent. Major mint error, uncirculated condition. That single penny sold for more than $1 million at auction. A penny, 1 cent. That's the kind of story that makes collectors' hearts skip a beat. Well, it's not just age, it's all about what went wrong at the mint. During the production of these coins, a few were accidentally struck using a proof-quality die meant for collector coins, and in some cases, the wrong metal planchet entirely. Imagine a copper penny accidentally struck on a brass or silver planchet meant for another denomination. These off-metal strikes are so rare that only a handful are known to exist, but that's not the only reason collectors go crazy for them. The D mint mark, located just under the date, was sometimes double-punched, what numismatists call a D over D mint mark. Under magnification, you can see the faint outline of the first D behind the second one. And in certain rare examples, the penny itself was struck slightly off-center or with a broad strike, giving the coin a wider, almost stretched appearance. Grab a magnifying glass. Check the date, 1977, and look closely at the small d under the numbers. If it looks doubled, thicker than normal, or slightly misaligned, that's your first clue. Next, check the color. Most 1977 D pennies are a reddish-brown copper tone, but the valuable ones often appear brighter, even slightly golden or silvery, depending on the metal mix. And finally, check the edges. If the rim seems too thick or uneven, that's another sign something's off. And in the coin world, off can mean extremely valuable. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking their penny has to look perfect to be worth money. Not true. Even circulated examples, coins that have clearly been used, can fetch thousands. But if yours happens to be uncirculated, untouched, or in a sealed roll from the late 70s, you could be sitting on a fortune. Experts believe fewer than a dozen have been documented, which means there are likely more hiding in collections, jars, or drawers across America. Some might even be mixed in with your spare change. The odds may be small, but when the reward is over $1 million, that's a treasure hunt worth starting. That I remember talking to a retired factory worker from Ohio who swore he found one years ago. He said, "I thought it was just a weird-looking penny. I kept it for luck." When he finally had it checked out by a local coin shop, they told him it could be one of the rare 1977 D errors. Imagine sitting on that kind of luck for decades, a coin worth more than your house, hiding in your pocket change all along. That's the emotional power of coin collecting. It's not just about metal and mint marks, it's about stories. Every coin has one. The 1977 D penny tells a story of a mistake turned miracle, of how something meant to be ordinary became extraordinary. And it's a reminder that sometimes life's biggest fortunes come in the smallest packages. Collectors describe holding one of these coins as a time machine in copper. You're not just holding a penny. You're holding a moment in history, a minting error that slipped past every inspection and ended up changing someone's life forever. Now, let's reset for a second. You might be wondering, why would a simple mistake make a coin so valuable? Think about it this way. In a world where billions of pennies exist, rarity is everything. When something happens just once or twice, it becomes priceless. Add in the demand from passionate collectors and investors who see coins as art, history, and opportunity all rolled into one, and that's when prices skyrocket into the millions. Some collectors say the thrill of the hunt is as rewarding as the discovery itself. That moment when you realize a coin you've overlooked for years could be the key to $1 million payday. It's electric. It's hope, mystery, and luck, all in one tiny copper disc. And here's another tip. Even if your 1977 D penny isn't the rare error, keep checking. Some are worth thousands simply because of condition or a minor variation in strike. Coins graded MS-67 or higher, meaning near perfect, have sold for tens of thousands of dollars. That's a lot of money for something most people wouldn't bend over to pick up off the ground. So next time you get change back at the grocery store, take a second look before you toss those pennies aside. Because every once in a while, lightning strikes twice, and you might be holding the next $1 million coin. The mystery, the excitement, the what if, that's what keeps coin collectors going. Every penny has potential. Every one of them tells a story. And in the case of the 1977 D Lincoln penny, that story might just be the one that changes your life. This is the shocking story of the 1990 D Lincoln penny, a coin that's turning the world of collectors upside down. And believe me, after you hear what makes it special, you'll never look at another penny the same way again. A quiet morning in Denver back in 1990. The U.S. Mint's machines are roaring to life, stamping out millions of pennies. But somewhere in that blur of copper-plated steel and thunderous presses, something goes wrong. A mistake, or maybe a miracle, slips through. A few coins are struck with a hidden detail, a flaw so subtle only a handful of people have ever noticed. Fast forward 3 decades. A man cleaning out his late father's coin jar finds one of these 1990 D pennies. At first, he thinks it's just a sentimental keepsake. But a glint in the light catches his eye. Something looks off. He magnifies it. His pulse quickens. Within weeks, that same coin would be auctioned for over $1.4 million. One penny. One life-changing discovery. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This coin's secret lies in the smallest details. You see, the D, mint mark under the date, stands for Denver. Most 1990 pennies have it. But the rarest versions are missing the mint mark entirely. Yet they were struck using Denver dies. In other words, these coins weren't supposed to exist. It's a minting error so mysterious that even experts still argue about how it happened. Some believe a die meant for Philadelphia, which usually makes pennies without mint marks, was accidentally sent to Denver. Others think a few planchets were fed into the wrong press. Whatever the case, These pennies became ghosts in the system, vanishing into circulation before anyone at the mint noticed. Let that sink in. Millions of coins were produced, and only a tiny handful of these million-dollar mistakes slipped through. The odds of finding one, like being struck by lightning while winning the lottery. But people have beaten those odds before, and they're doing it again. If you're wondering how to spot one, here's what to look for. Start with the date, 1990. Now, check directly below it. A regular Denver penny has a small, clear D mark, but the valuable one? It's missing. No mint mark at all. The surface should look clean, with no trace of damage or tampering. If you see that perfect 1990 date with no mint mark, you might just be holding a fortune. Don't stop there, though. Flip it over and inspect the Lincoln Memorial. The details should be crisp, sharp, and well-centered. Genuine mint errors have strong strikes, not weak or worn ones. And the edges, they'll feel clean, not shaved or altered. Remember, counterfeiters have tried to fake these, but experts can always tell. One man found his 1990 no mint mark penny in a bankroll. Another discovered one in a collection he'd ignored for years. Imagine the heart-pounding moment when they realized what they had. Imagine walking into an auction house, handing over a 1-cent coin, and hearing the bids climb into the millions. Now, I know what you're thinking. Could something like that really happen to you? The truth is, yes. Because the 1990 de-minting error isn't a fairy tale. It's a fact. These coins are out there, and every so often, one surfaces in the most unexpected place, tucked in a coffee can, slipped inside a drawer, or forgotten in an old wallet. The idea that a coin worth over $1 million could be sitting quietly in your house, waiting to change everything. That's the magic of coin collecting. The thrill of discovery, the connection to history, and the dream that the next coin you examine could rewrite your story. Think about it. Millions of pennies were minted that year, but only a handful are priceless. They share the same design, the same copper coating, the same image of Lincoln's solemn face. Yet one tiny mint mark, or the lack of it, makes all the difference between pocket change and a millionaire's treasure. The 1990 D penny reminds us that value often hides where we least expect it. It's not about what's shiny or new. It's about what's rare, what's overlooked, and what carries a story buried beneath decades of dust. Next time you get change at the store, don't just toss it aside. Lay those pennies out under good light. Take your time. Look closely, because the one you've been ignoring all these years might not just buy you a cup of coffee. It could buy you a house. And if you do find one, make sure to have it authenticated by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. A verified 1990 no mint mark penny can command a staggering price, depending on its condition. Even a lower grade version can bring in tens of thousands. But the pristine ones, the mint state beauties, those are the million-dollar legends. A coin so small, so ordinary, holding the power to change a life. That's why collectors keep searching. It's not just about the money. It's about the chase, the mystery, the thrill of the unknown. Every coin tells a story, but only a few can make history. Here's your mission. Go check your change jars, your old piggy banks, your glove compartment. Call up your relatives who've been hoarding coins for decades. Because the 1990 D. Lincoln penny might be hiding among them. Silent, unassuming, priceless. You don't need to be a professional collector to find one. You just need curiosity, patience, and a bit of luck. Remember, every great discovery started with someone who looked twice. Take another look. Because somewhere out there, that little brown coin could be waiting for you to notice it, waiting to turn your ordinary day into something extraordinary. But because fate, time, and a small mistake at the U.S. Mint turned it into one of the most valuable Lincoln pennies ever discovered. The year was 1981. Ronald Reagan had just become president. The first space shuttle had launched, and nobody could have guessed that some of the last Lincoln pennies struck that year would become the stuff of legend. This coin doesn't have a mint mark. No tiny P for Philadelphia, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. Just the quiet face of Abraham Lincoln staring forward, with a secret that only the sharpest collectors would ever uncover. Now here's where it gets mysterious. 1981 was the final full year the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln pennies with the older, sharper design before switching to a new small date, and eventually the copper-plated zinc composition in 1982. But a handful of 1981 pennies without mint marks were struck under unusual conditions, using leftover proof dies, meant for collector sets, and somehow released into regular circulation. That means these weren't supposed to exist in your pocket change. But they did. And they still do. Imagine that for a second. You've been handing out history at the gas station, paying for coffee, dropping million-dollar copper in tip jars without ever knowing it. The first time one of these 1981 no mint mark Lincoln pennies was found, the discovery left the coin world buzzing. It didn't happen at an auction. It happened when a sharp-eyed collector noticed something off: the mirror-like fields, the deep, sharp lines around Lincoln's portrait. It looked too perfect to be a regular penny. And when it was authenticated, it turned out to be a proof strike, one that had escaped the mint and somehow made it into the wild. These rare 1981 no mint mark proofs were supposed to have an S for San Francisco, but a few slipped out without one. The mint never publicly admitted how many. Some experts say only a few dozen exist. Others believe fewer than 10 pristine examples survive today. But here's where you need to pay attention, because this is the difference between 1 cent and $1 million. If you want to identify the real 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny, start by examining the details under good light or a magnifier. The surface should look different, not flat and dull like ordinary pennies. It should have mirror-like fields that reflect light and frosted details on Lincoln's face and lettering. That contrast between shine and frost is called cameo. Real proof coins have it. Regular circulation coins don't. Next, look closely at the area below the date. A normal 1981 proof penny should have a tiny S mint mark for San Francisco. If yours has absolutely nothing there, no trace of a letter, and it still looks proof-like, you may be holding a treasure. And it gets even more unbelievable. Some of these no mint mark proofs were struck so sharply, the details in Lincoln's hair and the wheat lines on the reverse are crisper than on any other penny of the era. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC have given these coins designations like Proof 69 or Proof 70, meaning almost perfect. One such example sold for well over $1 million at auction. Collectors say finding one is like striking gold in your own change jar. The irony? It's not gold at all. It's copper, the humblest of metals. And yet, in the world of coin collecting, story and scarcity are worth more than metal. Here's what to do. Start by separating your 1981s. Put aside any that have no mint mark. Then, with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, look for those proof-like qualities: the shine, the clarity, and the sharp edges. A normal penny will look dull and worn. But a proof coin, even if circulated, keeps a glassy luster. Here's the emotional punch. Some people have walked into coin shops with one of these pennies, expecting to get maybe $1 or $2, and walked out with enough to change their lives. One story tells of a man who brought his childhood coin album to an appraisal event just to see what it was worth. Tucked into a plastic sleeve was a single 1981 penny. No mint mark, mirror-like surface, untouched for decades. That coin sold for over $1.5 million. He said afterward, "I always thought it was just sentimental value. I had no idea it was real treasure." That's the dream every collector lives for. The moment when the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Now let's reset for a moment. Picture yourself at your kitchen table. Maybe you've got a few rolls of pennies saved from when your kids were young. You pour them out, the sound echoing across the room. Among the worn, brown coins, one catches the light differently. It gleams. You flip it over, squinting under the lamp. No mint mark. The edges look sharp. The truth is, there are still undiscovered examples of this coin out there. The mint struck millions of regular 1981 pennies, but only a whisper of these no mint mark proofs exist. Most people don't even know to look for them. Collectors who specialize in error and variety coins have long debated how this mistake happened. Some believe the mint simply forgot to add the mint mark punch on a few proof dies. Others think a few coins were test strikes that accidentally got mixed with regular circulation batches. Either way, those coins escaped official records. And that's what makes them so valuable. That let's talk about grading for a second, because it's crucial. If you find a 1981 no mint mark proof-looking penny, don't clean it. Don't rub it. Don't polish it. Don't even breathe on it too much. Put it in a soft holder and send it for authentication. Grading services can confirm whether it's genuine. The difference between a regular penny and a $1 million penny comes down to authenticity and condition. Someone might have found one years ago, kept it in a drawer, and forgot about it. Families inherit old jars and albums all the time, never realizing what's inside. Some of the greatest discoveries happen during estate cleanouts, garage sales, or when someone finally decides to check those old collections from the 70s and 80s. So yes, that means it could be in your house right now. Think about the story behind this coin, the quiet accident at the mint, the decades of mystery, the thrill of discovery. It's not just about money. It's about history, luck, and the simple joy of uncovering something rare and real. People chase lottery tickets and jackpots every day, but coin collectors know the real jackpot fits between your thumb and forefinger. It's not chance, it's awareness. It's knowing what to look for when everyone else overlooks it. Tonight. When you dump out that old change jar, don't just see coins. See possibilities. Look closely at every 1981 penny you find. Shine a light across it. Search for that mirror reflection, that missing mint mark. You never know which one could make you a legend in the collecting world. But what if I told you that this exact penny could be worth over $1 million? One coin, hiding in plain sight, quietly waiting to transform someone's life forever. Of the 1991 D. Lincoln penny. A coin that collectors are hunting for with a fervor you can't even imagine. And today, I'm going to show you everything you need to know, from its mysterious origins to the exact way to identify it, so you don't miss out on what could be the most life-changing discovery of your lifetime. The story begins in 1991, a year that seems ordinary at first glance. Thousands of pennies rolled off the presses in Denver, just like every year. But hidden among the millions was a rare anomaly. A penny with a misstrike so subtle, so precise, that it would remain unnoticed by most, yet incredibly valuable to the trained eye. This misstrike isn't something a casual glance will catch. It's something that whispers to the collector who knows exactly what to look for. What makes this coin so astonishing isn't just its rarity. It's the story behind it. Imagine the presses at the Denver Mint, running day and night, producing millions of coins for everyday transactions. Somewhere in that massive machine, a slight imperfection occurs, a tiny variation in the metal, a shift in the die, creating a coin that would eventually be worth over $1 million. To most, it's just a penny. To a collector, it's a ticket to a dream. Now, I want you to picture holding it in your hand. That copper surface, the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln staring back at you, except with one tiny difference. Look closely at the date, 1991, and the D mint mark. On this particular penny, the D is slightly doubled, faint but unmistakable once you know how to spot it. That doubling is the key. It's subtle, almost secretive, like the coin is daring you to notice it. And if you do, you're looking at something worth potentially $1 million. Here's where it gets even more thrilling. These pennies weren't widely circulated in this rare form. Only a few slipped through the cracks, making them incredibly scarce. Imagine searching through jars of pennies, rolls from the bank, pocket change. Every coin could be a contender. Every ordinary penny could suddenly become extraordinary. Collectors describe the feeling of finding one like discovering hidden treasure in your own backyard. The shock, the disbelief, the surge of adrenaline. You hold a coin worth more than most people's cars, more than some people's houses, in the palm of your hand. And it's all thanks to a tiny misalignment at the mint decades ago. First, the D mint mark. The letter itself should look slightly thickened or doubled. Next, examine the date. The numbers might appear subtly raised or slightly off-center. This isn't something you'll notice at a casual glance. You need good lighting, a magnifying glass, and a careful eye. And don't just trust the first penny you see. Compare it to a normal 1991 D penny. That's when the difference becomes chillingly obvious. Condition matters. The better the condition, the more the value skyrockets. Uncirculated pennies, coins with crisp details and no scratches, are the ones collectors are willing to pay the highest prices for. But even circulated examples, if they have the right doubling and features, can still be worth hundreds of thousands. Now, imagine the stories tied to these coins. The families who unknowingly saved them, the collectors who stumbled across one in a dusty old coin roll, the disbelief as they realized the penny in their hand was suddenly worth $1 million. It's emotional, almost cinematic. And the most exciting part? This story isn't over. Every day, more coins are being found. Every day, more ordinary people discover that life-changing moment hidden in plain sight. Think about the odds. Millions of pennies were made in 1991. Only a tiny fraction carry this rare feature. But it doesn't matter if you're not a professional collector. The opportunity is real. A roll from the bank, a forgotten drawer, even the change in your pocket could hide it. The thrill isn't just in the discovery, it's in the possibility. This penny has fascinated experts for decades. They can't stop talking about it. Auctions see bidders scrambling, sometimes bidding hundreds of thousands, even millions, to secure one. It's a coin that literally turns ordinary people into millionaires overnight. And yet, it's sitting quietly in circulation, blending in with ordinary change, waiting for the next person to notice its secret. Start by examining any 1991 D pennies you come across. Use a magnifying glass, good light, and look carefully at the D mint mark and the date. Compare it to a standard 1991 penny. Learn the subtle variations that set this coin apart. Once you know what to look for, every coin you hold becomes a potential treasure chest. And don't get discouraged if you don't find it immediately. Many collectors have spent years hunting before spotting their first rare penny. The thrill is in the hunt, the suspense, the possibility that the next coin you pick up could change your life forever. I found a penny worth over $1 million. It's not just money. It's the story, the history, the thrill of discovery. That's what makes this coin legendary among collectors. Remember, this isn't just about the value. It's about the moment, the heartbeat, the disbelief, the exhilaration of realizing that something so ordinary, something you handle every day without a second thought, could hold unimaginable value. And every time you examine one of these pennies, you're connecting with history, with the mint workers in 1991, with every collector who has dreamed of finding a treasure, and with the possibility that your life could change in an instant. So keep your eyes open. Examine your jars of pennies. Study rolls from the bank. Don't overlook anything. The 1991 D. Lincoln penny is waiting. Its secret is subtle, its story dramatic, and its potential life-changing.